Hey everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a quick review of the second studio album by Sylvan Esso, an electronic alternative indie pop duo born out of my home state, Durham, North Carolina. It's actually something that's not totally on the map, but it's always cool to see somebody from North Carolina. You don't see a ton of bands getting talked about, although I did recently cover Future Islands. I'm at least glad to be talking about something from NC that I like a lot more. Sylvan Esso was introduced to me a few years back. One of my friends was into them, and I originally thought that it was just the name of a singer, and I later obviously realized my mistake there. Checked out more than just the single Coffee, although that is a fantastic track. I really liked a lot of what they were doing with this kind of dark, gloomy, glitchy pop music with an electronic and alternative twist, but here I feel like they've built on that even more and have laid the groundwork for what could come on future releases. With What Now, their second album, what exactly are they doing with their sound? What is bigger, better, or else different this time around? There were a handful of singles released off of this project. The only one that I actually heard preceding the release was Die Young, and I actually covered that in a track review roundup. I did enjoy it, but it's only grown on me with repeated listens. It's one of those songs that is very, very well constructed. I like those synthesizers and the way that they kind of shape up this track. It's like they're skeletal, but at the same time, there's a lot to them, and they really kind of crunch their way into your heart. And the lyrical content here is very, very interesting. Basically, our protagonist wanted to die young. She had it all planned out, all set up. Everything was gonna go great. I was gonna disappear. But then this person came along and you foiled that plan, and you think you're getting a little bit of insight into her mind as to what she's thinking, and it's honestly just really interesting and entertaining to listen to. Clearly, I was impressed by Die Young, but what did we get on the rest of this album, What Now? Well, the first track, I will say, is kind of jarring. There's a lot of kind of backmasking, a lot of vocal effects, kind of like you're hearing it through a Victrola player in the 1930s on the opening one's sound. And I do like what's going on here, don't get me wrong, but for repeated listens, I'm skipping it. I'm skipping right on over this one because it is frustrating. It's chopped up so much, and it finally does build to where you can actually kind of understand the lyrics, but it just gets annoying, even as an intro track. So it's something that I kind of have to take out of context for this record. I'm not necessarily knocking the album for having it. I like that they really tried something new here, but at the same time, I can't listen to it more than a couple of times, especially when I'm sitting here listening and looping this album over and over again, just trying to take it all in. This is one that can get on your nerves. But after that, they do break into it with the next track, which is one of my absolute favorites, The Glow. It's one that gives me a feeling of effervescent youth. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, and I love that. The first track was kind of a gamble, but here it pays off, and it kind of transitions really nicely. I love that smooth opening to the track. It kind of takes you back a bit, and there's a vintage flair to the tune. Even though there's electronics, some synthesizers, and other things shaping up this track, you can also hear the human qualities in Sylvan Esso's music, and I love that. They've got a singer and a producer. There's not a ton to the project, only 2 people attached to it, but they make sounds and songs that are much bigger than just 2 people. The blissful feelings definitely carry over into some of the other moments. Just Dancing is one that has kind of these airy synthesizers, kind of a lot of space effect to them that I really do enjoy. It adds a nice differing feel to this one in particular, and it's something that you can just vibe with the chorus. It kind of rocks steadily back and forth. And then right before that, we got another off-kilter track that is still a lot of fun, but it almost plays to a folkier tendency. It's simply called Song. I can't quite put a finger on it, but some of these tracks just have a certain quality to them that stop me from completely loving them. It's like, I think these are good songs, but at the same time, there's something that sounds off. Maybe something doesn't quite line up, whether it be the lyrics or the instrumental that goes along with it. Like Radio, for example. I think it's a catchy as hell song. The chorus is infectious, it's lively, it calls to mind some really cool things in the lyrical department, basically saying, you know, you're a slave to the trends, to what the radio is telling you to do, to whatever is being played. You decide what's popular, you need to think for yourself. And I always like that message in songs, but something about it just feels off, especially as it progresses to like its bridge and back to that final chorus again. Not a huge fan on What's Going On Kick Jump Twist, which was also released as a single. This one just feels a little bit too repetitive for me. I don't know, something about the production just kind of clashes with the rest of the song, and it gets frustrating as I come back to this album for repeated listens. And I suppose I could say similar things for some of these other moments, but it honestly works out a lot better on some of the others, like Rewind, for example. That one definitely grew on me as a closer for this record. It's something where the vocals are a little bit more kind of honed in, they're more subtle here, but the effect is still powerful. And right before that, we get another fantastic moment, my favorite on the entire album. It's called Slack Jaw, and this song is just fucking beautiful. This one really just lays it all out there. It's mainly vocals, and that's what we get, and I love that we're able to focus on her as a vocalist. She's so talented, and I really love what they are doing with the presence of the song. Like I said before, it's often very skeletal and bare bones, but here it's really just Amelia Meath's vocals, and of course Nick's backing production on this thing, and it's something that does touch it up nicely. But here, you're focusing on that spotlight that's really honed in on the vocals, and it's simply gorgeous. What Now definitely shows promise for the future, but I can't say that it has it all here. It doesn't have everything that we need for a great record, and that is kind of disappointing because whenever I listened to it the first time, I was like, okay, some of these tracks definitely have a shine, maybe it's gonna grow on me, but unfortunately some of them kind of grated on me as I listened to them more, but others I did fall in love with more, and I would say I'm kind of split down the middle on this release overall. There's some songs that I would definitely recommend you guys check out. I'm gonna put my favorites and least favorites in the description as always. You decide for yourself. This is all just my opinion. If you want to hear the record, I definitely recommend giving it a listen. I will link to the Spotify playlist down below. For me personally, I'm gonna have to go with a light 3, maybe a light 3.5 out of 5. Thanks for watching this review. Be sure to leave a like on it so that I know that you enjoy seeing more indie and under the radar reviews. To support this type of content here on YouTube, be sure to support me on Patreon if you're able to. It's that annotation over there in the corner, or else the top link in the description. All of my socials are down there as well. A couple other recent videos, and other than that, I'm gonna see you very soon right here on ARTV.